Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Drew back again with another video for all you soccer fans out there. And in this one, we're going to talk about the second part of this video topic, which is my prediction to how I think the East and West Conference are going to finish for this new 2020 MLS season. So in the first video, if you guys missed it, I will leave a link down below here in the description box. It was, of course, me predicting how I think the Eastern Conference table will finish at the end of the 2020 season. And now it's only fair if I do the Western Conference table and predict how I think that conference is going to play out at the end of the season. So, without further ado, let's just get right to it. Real talk, the MLS season, the 25th season of the MLS to be exact, is just days away. I can almost taste it. And one of the best ways to really keep in touch with everything that's going on in MLS, all the freaking controversies, the news, who's going where, who's injured, who's not injured, who's going to win the title, whatever. One of the best ways to keep up with it is, of course, to subscribe here to your boy Drew and really just be part of the, the gang. Like, you know what? I think I need... I need like some kind of name to call our group that we have here. Like me and you guys who love MLS, we need some kind of cool name for the channel. So some of you guys who are like really clever out there, which I know there's some of you guys out there, try to think of something. I think it'd be cool to reference you guys as like a unit almost, not just saying hey you guys. I want to really kind of identify you guys with me like some kind of group, whatever. Anyway, let's just get right to this freaking video topic. At number 13, guys, who I think is going to finish bottom of the Western Conference is unfortunately the newest addition to this Western Conference, which is, of course, Nashville SC. Now, this team really... it's their inaugural season. Okay, it's going to be a little rocky because they're just starting to play their first season here in MLS as a professional soccer team. And I think really they didn't really make too many good signings, I think, in their inaugural transfer market or whatever. I think their key players that they have, obviously, Daniel Levis is left back, which is good to see there. Walker Zimmerman from LAFC, which is a really huge surprise to see him transfer here to Nashville, but I'm excited to see how he does in this new team. He was, I think, one of the first few players in LAFC's first inaugural season, so it only makes sense now that he's helping yet another team inaugurate itself here in the MLS. But what I think is going to be the talisman of this team, the biggest factor that this team has going forward into the MLS, the biggest hope for all you Nashville SC fans is Hani Mukhtar. This German attacking midfielder, I think, could be the real deal here for Nashville in MLS. I think this guy has some tremendous talent. He was, a really giant, like huge prospect back in the day, in Germany and in around Europe. But he's kind of fallen off a bit. But hopefully, this new move here, this new sparkle of life here in MLS will help him regain his form and hopefully regain his potential that he once had all those years ago. But, just with that being said, just having players like Mukhtar, a good talisman there, Daniel Levis, Walker Zimmerman, and even MLS veteran Dax McCarthy in the midfield alongside Mukhtar, I think that this team still does not have enough going forward to really make a huge impact in their first inaugural season. I think they're going to be the Cincinnati of the 2020 MLS season. So I'm sorry for all you Nashville SC fans. Before we get to number 12, you guys, I'm sorry if it feels like I'm going way too fast on this video than I did in the Eastern Conference video. It's only because there is some CONCACAF Champions League action going on tonight that I need to watch so I can get you guys another video tomorrow. Guys, 3 videos in a row, that's crazy for this channel. You guys know I'm very inconsistent, but I'm trying to do my best for you guys and for the sport here in America. So, anyway, coming in at number 12, right ahead of Nashville SC, is going to be none other than one of the Texas teams, Houston Dynamo, the team who finished 10th place last season in the Western Conference, 19th overall. I think that this team, again, just like Nashville, doesn't have enough in its team to really make a big splash and make an impact here, not just in the Western Conference, but in just overall in the MLS season. They did have some good acquisitions like Darwin Quintero from Minnesota United, Marco Maric, Victor Cabrera from who used to play for Montreal, whatever. This team still, even with big players like Manotas and Albert Ellis, I think that they still don't have enough firepower or even enough solidness at the back to really be a contender to get anywhere above I'd say even 10th place. I think they're going to be a bottom half of the table finish here in the Western Conference for Houston Dynamo. Unfortunately, that's going to be what I think their fate. I'm coming in here at 11th place. I think it's going to be none other than Vancouver Whitecaps. And I say it's because this is a team who finished in last place in the Western Conference last season and 23rd place overall, which is second to last place, right above FC Cincinnati, who were absolutely freaking trash last year. But I think that this year may not be a big difference. They do have some good signings with, of course, the biggest one, the most anticipated one, Lucas Cavallini, the Canadian striker, is going back to his roots in Canada and Vancouver, coming from a Liga MX team where he was pretty prolific. He is like the top most popular striker right now in Canada. But can he bring enough to the table to help this team get out from the bottom depths of the Western Conference? I'm going to go ahead and say no. Despite Cavallini being a really good player and a good striker and a good finisher, I think he needs the support from his midfield. I think he needs some more support to help him out. And even though I think that new acquisition Huang and also Whitecaps player Jordi Reyna, Peruvian international, by the way, might I add that Reyna, I still think these players are not enough to really provide help to Lucas Cavallini. Like, he can't be the only one scoring goals. And even at the back, they don't really convince me. Like Godoy, Cornelius, players who I really don't think are top quality, I'd say. And if I sound offensive, I'm sorry. This is just my opinion, guys. Remember, this ranking here is just my opinion. And I think, with my opinion, Vancouver Whitecaps will finish in 11th place this season. I think I finally made it to my first controversial placing in the Western Conference, and that's going to be 10th place team, Real Salt Lake. Now, I know, guys, they finished 3rd place last season in the Western Conference and 6th overall, but still, I think that a big part of this team's great finish last season was in part the players who have now departed this team. Players like Brooks Lennon, Jefferson Savarino, João Plata, Nick Rimando, a huge veteran there, huge leadership there has been lost with Nick Rimando. And even Jefferson Savarino, João Plata, some good versatility, some good wingers, some good pace there, goal scoring abilities, technical ability, all gone. Brooks Lennon, a good youngster coming up through the ranks. He's also pretty versatile. He can play in mostly lots of positions on the wings. But those key players are all gone now. And to replace them, I feel like they haven't gotten the best replacements. They did get Zach McMath to replace Rimando. But it says here, Zach McMath has not been a regular starter since 2016, which is frightening to a team who really needs a good goalkeeper to replace a goalkeeper who was freaking probably the best goalkeeper in MLS history. Those are big gloves to fill there, Zach McMath. But other than that, I think this team has not made enough replacement transfers to really replace the players that they lost. They do have good hope there with Albert Rusnak in the midfield, Corey Baird on the wings, Justin Glad, young defender coming into himself more and more as the seasons go by. But even with all that said, I still think a 10th place finish seems pretty reasonable. And if I'm wrong, I really hope I am, because this team I think deserves more, especially with their high finish last season. Here now in 9th place is a team who I think is going to stay in 9th place, because that is where they finished last season, and that of course is going to be Colorado Rapids. Colorado is a team that's kind of they're good for a little bit, then they're mostly bad, but they're also pretty good at the same time, but mostly also very underwhelming. So for you Colorado fans out there, I'm sure it's been a bumpy ride, and I can relate, because I'm a Philadelphia Union fan, so my team has sucked for a long time since their inauguration, but they seem to be doing better, and hopefully I am wrong with this prediction that your Colorado team will do better this season. They do have good players here with Kai Kamara, of course, as a striker, huge prolific striker here in MLS history. Youngster Sam Vines as left back, I think is going to be it's just going to be getting better, hopefully, as the season goes by. Because I feel like he is a pretty good left back. He's got some potential in him. Kellen Acosta, once a really high-rated potential midfielder who's kind of fallen off a bit. I really don't know why. And I feel like I should make a video as to why or what the hell happened to Kellen Acosta. At least I thought he was a pretty solid young midfielder when he was, in the national team, but now he's not really in the national team at all. And I don't follow Colorado too much, so if you guys know about Acosta's, form recently, let me know down below. I'm actually really curious to see what happened to him. Right, what happened to him as of late. Of course, Jonathan Lewis as well, to provide some more attacking fire to help out Kai Kamara. They did lose good players mostly Tim Howard, the goalkeeper there, who is obviously probably the best goalkeeper in USA history. He's gone now. Irwin is not going to take his place probably. But for the most part, I think this team is pretty decent overall, and that's why I still think that, they did lose some stuff, but they also gained some stuff that kind of balances them out, and that's why they're still in the same spot in 9th place. Does that make sense? Because that makes sense to me. I honestly promise you guys, I look up how these teams' squads are looking, how their form has been in preseason, and how I think, the kind of signings they made and kind of players they lost. And then after that, I really make a decision how I think I should rank them. And it's funny because Colorado and now this team have stayed in the same spots they finished last year. And to coming in at 8th place, just missing off on the playoffs, once again, unfortunately, is going to be Chris Wondolowski's San Jose Earthquakes. Now, of course, I believe this is going to be Chris Wondolowski's last season in MLS, or probably last season playing professional soccer. So that's going to be very sad for us USA fans. Very sad more for us MLS fans, because he's been such a staple name, such a huge thing. He's the top leading goal scorer in MLS, and it's going to be sad to see him go. Hopefully he goes out with a bang, but unfortunately, just based off his squad and just based off how I think this team is, they will once again probably miss out on the playoffs, even with Almeida seeming to really figure out how he wants his team to play out, how he wants his team to play under him. I still think that they will not have enough to compete with these other top Western Conference teams, despite having Chris Wondolowski, the number one goal scorer in MLS, despite having young talent like Jackson Ewell in midfield. I still think they are not going to be enough to break into that playoff spot. But you know what? I could be wrong, and I really hope I am, because I would love to see Chris Wondolowski go out in either a playoff cup win, MLS Cup win, or a long, far playoff run. I think that would be really good and really a nice sending off here for Chris Wondolowski. And I hope that this team at least wins one trophy this year, so Chris Wondolowski can either raise up the Supporter Shield, the MLS Cup, or the US Open Cup. They need to lift something so this guy can go out with a friggin' bang. Okay, so now we've made it to the fun part of this video, the fun part of the conferences tables, and that, of course, is the playoff spot. So we made it. So coming in the first playoff spot, which is the 7th place spot here in the Western Conference, that's going to be Minnesota United. Yes, a team who finished 4th place in the Western Conference last year and 7th overall is going to finish 7th this time in just the Western Conference. I think, this team had a pretty good season last year. I think they were pushing for a higher top finish before. They kind of fell off a little bit, but they were in good form overall, I think, last year as a whole. They got good players in Osvaldo Alonso in the midfield, Ethan Finley, Molino, Ike Oparo as the great pacey defender there. This team is pretty good. Youngster Chase Gasper as a left back. I think this team is also going to be another exciting team to watch this season, along with all the other top teams here in the Western Conference. But what I think is going to be a really good, crucial acquisition, or what I think was a really good acquisition for them, and that's crucial, is, of course, Tyler Miller, LAFC's old goalkeeper, who is now going to be, holding down the net back there for Minnesota United this season. I think Tyler Miller deserved to stay in LAFC, and especially seeing Vermeer's performance in the CONCACAF Champions League, which absolutely was trash. I think Tyler Miller right now looks like the better goalkeeper. So Minnesota United, that's a fucking tongue twister. Minnesota United seems to have won that battle in goalkeeper. So that could prove really important to see how the season is going to play out from Minnesota. But for me, your boy Drew, I'm going to go ahead and give them a 7th place finish. Coming here ahead of Minnesota is going to be the 6th place team, Portland Timbers, a team who actually finished 6th place last year. I think they will repeat that same finish this season. At least they're in the playoff spot. They did finish 11th overall in the league. But yeah, like I said, they're in the playoff spot at least. And of course, if you're in the playoffs, literally anything can happen. You could be the 7th place team with the worst record of all playoff teams, and you can actually win the MLS Cup and be MLS Cup champions, which is kind of stupid to me if you ask me. But that's how MLS works, so we just have to appreciate what we have for now. Obviously, star players, Sebastian Blanco, Diego Valeri, Andy Polo, youngster Jeremy Mbobise. These players are going to be crucial and pivotal to the attacking sense that Portland Timbers is going to need in this season. They have tremendous talent here going forward. Like I just mentioned, all those players. Steve Clark, I think, is a pretty decent goalkeeper. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's okay. But for the most part, everyone else is kind of meh. But I think that is still is pretty solid enough to really push for a big playoff spot here in 6th place for Portland Timbers. Coming in now at 5th place here in the Western Conference is, I think, to me, in my opinion, the most exciting team to watch this season. That's going to be FC Dallas. I think this team is going to be, like I said, the most exciting team to watch. I'm excited to see how this team is going to play out. And the main reason why I think that's so exciting is because the kind of players they have. They have lots of young, not just young MLS talent, young U.S. men's national team talented players here that we need, that I want to see them progress and get better, and just get better as the season goes on. And that will also help the U.S. men's national team be better as a whole, especially with these crucial games we have later in the year. With the Gold Cup, with the World Cup qualifying. And the players I'm talking about, obviously, Jesse Gonzalez, Reggie Cannon, a freaking tremendous potential, high prospect, right back here, straight out of the FC Dallas Academy, along with freaking Paxton Pomykal, who I think is going to be the freaking breakout star of this team this season. And if I'm wrong, be sure you guys come back and comment on this video and let me know how wrong I was, because, of course, comments help the video out anyway. Jesus Ferreira, the newly acquired USA striker, who I think had a pretty good first debut game a couple of weeks ago with the U.S. national team, senior team, might I add. He's going to be another tremendous player who had a good breakout season last year, along with Paxton Pomykal and Reggie Cannon. But now it's time to put those skills to the test and see if they can repeat that good season. And I hope that they have an even better season. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and give them just a 5th place finish, but I think they could finish as high as 3rd place in this Western Conference, but we're just going to have to see how these youngsters do it. Coming in here at 4th place, I'm waiting for the hate. It's going to be Sporting Kansas City, a team who finished 11th place last year, second to last here in the Western Conference in last season's MLS year, 21st overall to be exact. This team, you would say, yeah, they probably won't even make the playoffs again. But I got to tell you, there's something about, just like Columbus Crew, why I ranked them really high in yesterday's video and in the Eastern Conference video. I think, again, this team, there's something about this team that's just damn, I feel like this team is going to be having a really good season this year. And it could be because they have, of course, Matt Beasler, Graham Zuzi at the back, Mila as a goalkeeper, probably as starting, Gutierrez in the midfield, Gerso as well. But what I think is going to be really, really crucial and pivotal and important to this team's success going forward is their new acquisition striker. The new striker they got, Alan Pulido, the freaking Mexico international striker from Chivas Guadalajara, who I guess has been making waves since he's been signed here from KC, because it seems as though he's going to be, or he is the real deal in the making, at least. And I think he's going to shine bright in Sporting Kansas City, especially with Johnny Russell on the wings, providing him good crosses and good through balls and helping him on the scoring front. I think this team is going to be a freaking dangerous team to play against, especially if Pulido finds his form here, and it's in good form, first of all. I think that this team is going to be an exciting surprise to watch for the new season. All right, so now we're down to the big three. The big three here in the Western Conference. So coming in 3rd place, who's it going to be? I believe it's going to be none other than Seattle Sounders. I know, the MLS Cup winners, the champions of MLS, come on. Why would they be in 3rd place? Well, I think because I just, I feel like they're a better cup competition team than the LA teams. And they've proven that last season, beating the LA teams, to the MLS Cup final, to the MLS Cup trophy, they seem to really be more of like an experienced cup competition kind of team. And in the league, I feel like they're still kind of finding their way. But not to say that they've lost the way. I just think they're going in a new direction, and they're doing good in that direction so far. Of course, key players are going to be Jordan Morris. Their new acquisition, João Paulo, seems to be a good asset to this team in midfield. Lodero in midfield, Christian Roldan, another good midfielder. I think that is good for the MLS, maybe not so good for the national team. And of course, the Peruvian striker Rudiaz leading the attacking line. I think just saying those players' names gets me excited because I know how good these players are, especially when they all play together like they did in the MLS Cup tournament. Like that was, boom, crazy. I'm excited to see how Jordan Morris does again. Like I said, he's one of my favorite players in MLS, and Rudiaz, of course, is another one of my favorite players because, of course, he's Peruvian, just like your boy Drew. But I'm excited to see what this team has and how it's going to perform now that it's once again, MLS Cup champions. So we're just going to wait and find out. But for right now, like I said, I will give them a third place finish, but I think they could finish maybe even top spot. But third place for right now makes your boy Drew happy. All right, we made it to the top two. Which LA team is going to be the champion? Which LA team is going to be the runner-up here in the Western Conference? Well, this is pretty easy. I mean, not too easy, but I'm sure a lot of you guys will also have this played out like this. Coming in at number 2 is going to be LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy, I think, is just going to miss out on the top spot here in the Western Conference by LAFC because I just think that while they still have good, talented players, while they could match LAFC's, talent like player by player, I think that there was just some key to this team where it's still trying to find itself, still trying to really get all these new players, get all these talented players to really play well together and play consistently well and really show their true potential here for this team in MLS. They have lots of high-rated players here like Christian Pavón, Dos Santos, Sebastian Lletget. These players can do a lot better than they did last year, and I think they're waiting on that. They did lose players like Zlatan, Alessandrini, but they did gain probably the biggest, definitely the biggest signing this season for MLS. That, of course, being Javier Chicharito Hernandez, who's coming into this team absolutely freaking just. The reaction to this dude has been absolutely insane. Probably way more than Zlatan's reaction was, because back then, people weren't really too obsessed with Zlatan the way they are now, because now he's played at MLS. Now he's shown MLS how good he is. Now he's made waves in MLS, in soccer media, and soccer in America. But back then he wasn't really that guy, that MLS guy. It was just Zlatan. But for this guy, Chicharito, he's been a guy who's been craved by MLS fan. Like, MLS really wanted this guy to play years ago already, but now he's finally here. Now it's time to see why MLS fans, why MLS League, why a team like LA Galaxy wanted this guy to play for their team or for their league. So, while I still think Chicharito has fallen off form as of late in his most recent clubs, I still think he's got what it takes to be a really prolific striker. And with the help of Christian Pavón and Katai, on the wings, it's going to be tremendous support he's going to have. I think that they are going to really push LAFC to their limit and try to hopefully finish in ahead of them. Okay, LAFC, number 1 spot. Who could have predicted this? Everybody. Look, I'm not going to sit here and talk LAFC up because you guys know how good LAFC are already in the league so far, or at least in MLS. In CONCACAF Champions League, they're freaking trash. And that's because of their new goalkeeper, Kenneth Vermeer, who really, I'm telling you, Vermeer, I talked him up. He freaking disappointed me. Now I don't like him. Now we got beef. All right, we got beef in Vermeer. He really let LAFC down in the CONCACAF Champions League. And I think, hopefully, he does not let this team down in the MLS. I hope he takes this new club, this new league, this new journey in his career really seriously. Because if he doesn't take it seriously, he's going to be letting down this team that really wants to win everything they can right now. Losing players like Tyler Miller, Walker Zimmerman, they're going to be looking for new players to really come in and fill that void. Vermeer is a player who's going to come in and fill that void of the goalkeeper, so hopefully he does a good job. Carlos Vela, Diego Rossi, you guys know the star players they got here. Rodriguez, Kay, Blessing, come on. Everyone here is pretty well known by MLS fans, or at least should be well known, because they are going to freaking tear up this league once again. But that's pretty much it. That is my prediction, how I think the Western Conference table is going to finish. I want to hear you guys' thoughts down below on not just my list, but also I'm going to see how you guys think the Western Conference is going to finish in your opinion. Because, again, just my opinion. Don't get too salty. As always, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check back the channel tomorrow because we're going to talk about or at least talk about the games that happen in tonight's CONCACAF Champions League, which I got to go watch that now. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.